she has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the hype that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark-Kent. Superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap.
The Indiana Fever just avoided a major issue that could have changed women's basketball. They accidentally leaked their protected players list for the expansion draft, confirming Caitlin Clark is safe. However, some of their other choices have surprised fans. Before we continue, if you enjoy this content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It's free and helps us a lot. Did you subscribe? Great, thank you. Now, back to the story. Imagine if Caitlin Clark ended up on another team before even playing for Indiana. It was a close call. The leaked list has fans talking about who else made the cut and why. It started as a regular off-season day with fans scrolling through social media. Then, the Indiana Fever's protected list popped up, revealing key strategy moves and sparking a lot of reaction.
First rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika.
The Indiana Fever recently found themselves in a major bind when their protected players list for the upcoming expansion draft was accidentally leaked. Now, this list is meant to be a closely guarded secret. Even the players themselves don't know whether they've made the cut. But in a surprising twist, someone from the Fever's social media team made a huge mistake and accidentally posted the list for everyone to see. Realizing the blunder, they quickly deleted the post, but as we all know, once something hits the internet, it's there to stay. The screenshot spread like wildfire, and fans were immediately in an uproar. Was it real? Did someone hack the Fever's account? Or did an intern just make a massive mistake? Twitter exploded with all sorts of theories. Some people thought it was a fake list designed to throw off other teams, while others began scheming on how they could steal the unprotected players. Just picture what it must have been like in the Fever's front office when this happened. That poor social media manager must have wanted to crawl under their desk and never come out. There were probably some very intense and loud discussions happening behind closed doors. But here's where it gets really interesting. The accidental post didn't just reveal the protected players, it also exposed the Fever's entire strategy for keeping their superstar rookie, Caitlin Clark. Of course, it's no surprise they want to keep the most talked about player in years, but here's the real twist. Some of the other names on that list were far more controversial. Fans were left wondering why some players made the cut, and others didn't. That's where the real drama began.
NBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York.
The Indiana Fever's protected players list has been released, and it's leaving fans and analysts alike with more questions than answers. It's as if the Fever threw out the playbook and decided to make a bold, risky move with their roster strategy. The big question now is, who else made the cut, and who's being left out in the cold? Let's dive into this list and see just how wild the Fever's plans for next season really are. 6 players are safe, but the choices are raising eyebrows. Some fans are already calling this the biggest gamble in WNBA history. Trust me, the last name on the list is going to leave you speechless. Let's take a closer look at this surprising list. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is on there, no shock there. She's the rookie sensation everyone's talking about, and there's no way the Fever would let her go. But it's the other names on the list that have people scratching their heads. Take Aaliyah Boston, for instance. She made the cut, and that's a no-brainer. She's a former first overall pick and one of the best bigs in the league. Boston is a powerhouse on both ends of the floor, and she's a crucial part of the Fever's future. Then, there's Kelsey Mitchell. She's a scoring machine and a seasoned veteran who keeps the offense moving. No surprises there either. Mitchell's presence is essential for the team. However, once you start looking at the rest of the list, things get a lot more interesting. The decisions seem riskier and more unpredictable than anyone anticipated.
We're on the side of professionalism in a lot of different ways, and we can only control what's in our organization, within our people. And that, I mean, me personally, we don't condone those kind of things. No. I would say my most memorable moment was my first time seeing the amount of fans. I don't know if it was like this is crazy moment. I think for me what was most glaring is, for one, the amount of eyes that was gained through this process, for seeing us play and seeing us represent what is the.
Lexi Hull also made the cut, and that's where things start to get really interesting. She's not a superstar by any means, but she's beloved by fans for her hustle. Hull is the type of player who does all the little things, diving for loose balls, taking on tough defensive assignments, and being the glue that holds the team together. Her inclusion shows the Fever value the gritty, unsung contributions she brings to the table. But that's just the beginning of the surprises on this list. Then there's Nalissa Smith, who is also protected, and that's sparking a lot of conversation. If you remember the drama surrounding Smith last season, you'll understand why this decision has fans on edge. The Fever are clearly betting big on her potential, but some aren't sure if it's a risk worth taking. The speculation around Smith's future with the team is reigniting, and the stakes feel higher than ever, and here's where it gets even wilder. The last spot went to Timmy F. Benlay. I know, right? It's a shocker. Benlay is a veteran with a winning mentality, but she's been struggling with injuries. Some fans are freaking out that the Fever chose her over younger players like Grace Berger, who many believe has a bright future ahead of her. Speaking of Berger, she's one of the big names left off the list. While she didn't get much playing time last season, many still see her as a potential star, and her exclusion has raised some serious questions. Then there's Damaris Dantas. She's got the experience and scoring efficiency that the Fever need, making her absence from the protected list even more confusing. The Fever's choices are clearly sparking debates, and it's evident they're making some bold moves. They're taking a huge gamble on potential over proven talent, almost like they're playing a high-stakes game of chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this a stroke of genius, or is it a massive mistake? The Fever's protected list isn't just about holding on to their players, it's a clear window into their vision for the future. They're laying out their entire game plan for next season and beyond, and fans are on the edge of their seats, wondering if these bold moves will pay off or backfire in a big way.
I just go get some groceries and someone fist bumps me and says, "Go Fever." Like, that's just a really cool environment, and it shows, the dedication of the fans and the fandom in the city. So that part's been awesome. People were just so excited to come support the Fever. We felt that in our preseason games. We felt that even on draft night, we filled Gamebridge, which felt crazy. The start of the season, I feel like people, once we found out we had the #1 pick, and once Caitlin declared, that kind of changed things, I think, for the city a little bit. Like, we're not even doing anything in Gamebridge, and people are excited to watch the screen and see who we draft. So I think it's been so awesome, and just the growth has been insane.